Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tagging Your Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space, now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats. I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Got a nerve.
You think back a very long time ago during the Monday Night Wars, not only never in a million years did you ever think Eric Bischoff would show up on WWE television working for Vince McMahon, but then to eventually induct him into the Hall of Fame, which quite honestly I think is fantastic. I mean, he deserves it. What he was able to do to Vince McMahon in the WWF, WWE at the time, nobody else could have done what he did, and the brilliance and the realism that he brought to the wars, and it was just such a great time to be a fan. So from the War Report, figure we'd honor Eric Bischoff with the Open. Very excited to see him getting inducted. But welcome everyone to the War Report podcast, live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. We're everywhere. You can find us anywhere that there's a podcast, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere you go. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, you can see panel's a little short tonight. It's just myself and Ryan. Vince, we're having some Wi-Fi issues. He's going to try and get on. Eric's having internet issues, so once again, he'll be missing the show this evening. And Sam might be joining us a little bit later on. So right now, not like there's not a million and one things to talk about, but I want to now here's kind of how I want to set this up. Before we get into the obvious, before we get into Fastlane, before we get into WrestleMania, whatever, how everyone did on their predictions with Fastlane, I really want to start the show before all of that. And I want to start it with a little conversation about what we witnessed on AEW Dynamite prior to Fastlane, where we got to see Dr. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa in an unsanctioned lights-out match for the main event, which... Listen, I've been watching wrestling for a very long time. That is definitely one of the greatest women's matches I've seen. And not because they were both bleeding and they did, the thumbtacks and everything else.
The crazy ECW spots.
Right. Like, listen, that was all great, but that's not the sole reason. They told a hell of a story.
Yeah.
They wrestled what seemed like an almost perfect match. They looked good doing it. They both deserve it. I was so impressed. Definitely one of my favorite women matches of all time. Oh, Kat is going to be joining us. Welcome, Kat. But yeah, we were just before we get into. Hi, Kat. How are you?
Hi, sweetheart. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I was just kind of setting it up, thinking before we dive into Fastlane and Raw and WrestleMania, we really need to start with the Britt Baker Thunder Rosa unsanctioned lights out match. I mean,
best women's match I've ever seen of my life.
What did I just say?
Yeah.
I mean, and they tore down the internet. I mean, it's being ranked that way. It was so good for me. I was saying it wasn't just about the blood and the spots with the thumbtacks and everything. I mean, it was great, but it was the story that they told, how well of a wrestling match brawl it was. I don't even have anything to criticize. I mean, it was just a phenomenal match, a great finish, standing ovation waiting for them in the back. I mean, what are your thoughts, Kat?
I've seen a lot of women matches and a lot of shitty women matches, but not knocking women, sorry. But
No, but listen, it is what it is.
it was classic text. That match put some men to shame, is all I'm going to say. There are
Yeah, I was
men,
gonna say the match was
But-
so good you don't need
Wait,
a
it put
woman's
who to
match
shame?
qualifier.
Oh, yeah.
no, I said there are men's matches that I've seen, Biggie and Apollo Crews, that could take a lesson from what those women did the other night. That was stellar.
Yes, 100%. And don't jump the gun. We will get into that.
I know. I was just throwing a little joke in there, but
No.
What,
I
you
get
weren't
it,
impressed with the Nigerian prince?
But it was but let's say the dynamics of what they did. Okay, like you said, forget the thumbtacks, forget that, which rarely ever gets seen by women to begin with in the first place. But the technical wrestling between the two, the timing, the connection, everything was just freaking spot on.
Their chemistry is just unbelievable in the ring.
From the minute it started till the minute it ended. And like I said, I'm not knocking women's matches, but there are several women's matches where they start really strong, they're kind of okay in the middle, and then there's a great finish, and or vice versa. There's 9 times out of 10 there's something of just like, what the hell just happened, what was that, or whatever, no matter who the women are in the ring.
You're not getting the full match.
Well,
there's a gap in.
Well, let's say this too, though. I feel that AEW, Tony Khan, Cody, and the rest of them give them a lot more flexibility of what they can do in the match.
Absolutely. Like
how far they can take it.
I'm not
where WWE has
Absolutely.
these strict restrictions that, now we can't slap the leg. I mean, I understand people got sloppy with it and it was evident what people were doing, but at the end of the day, it's been going on forever and it just adds a little something to. I would rather see that and hear that sound than the Braun Strowman train sound effect we're hearing now during a fucking match. And we'll get into that too. But holy shit. So I don't know. I think overall that match was a 9 out of 10. And the only reason why I don't even know why I give it a 10 out of 10. That match was that good. I just shout out to both of those women.
It could have gone a few minutes longer. That's why you're giving it a 9 out of 10. Because if they even went another 5-10 minutes, we still would have been okay with it. Not like, oh my God, is this over yet already? Come on, just somebody pin each other. That never happened.
I don't know. I feel like it was like I didn't feel like it was an abrupt finish. It did feel like that was enough time. Like, listen, that's not to say if it did go another 5-10 minutes that I would have been upset about it because I'm sure they would have pulled out some other ridiculous spot. But I don't think it was necessary. I actually think that was just long enough to get you that feeling like, holy shit, this is a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Vince, glad you made it, bud. We were opening before we get into all the other fast lane and stuff. Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, lights out, unsanctioned. What are your thoughts? We kind of all shared ours.
First of all, I'd once again like to thank Eversource Energy for not helping me one single bit during my power outage. They can go fuck themselves. Second of all,
hashtag.
I had to go outside. I live in a condo. I won't tell. This is 30 seconds. I had to go outside, go to where the meters are, figure out that there's a box under the meters with breakers, and then figure out which breaker was my unit, and then pop
what
that.
The fuck?
It was a whole you couldn't just send a truck. I know it was literally a flick, but I don't know where.
That's impressive that they actually let you go do that.
Well, it's not a matter of letting me. They were like, yeah, we're not going to send anybody out. So anyway.
Oh, I see.
They were just like, yeah, they told me to call an electrician. I'm like, I'm not paying somebody to flip a switch. Anyway, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, 4.75 stars from the Big Melts. I think that was 5 stars. Easy. It was one of the best women's matches in the U.S. I know Japan is tough competition, but it's up there too.
I just want you to know that we have all said exactly the same thing. We are all on the same page. Match of the year.
Because, and this is what I like about Dynamite versus the Performance Center. We saw Britt Baker when she first signed, and she wasn't good. She was awful, in fact. And we got to watch her get better. and then she got a couple injuries, and they set her back, and she tore ACL and all this other stuff, broke her leg, blah blah blah.
Being with Adam Cole doesn't not help either. You know, he's probably working with her.
She's dating Adam Cole. He's probably helping her train. And Thunder Rosa's no slouch. The funny thing is, everybody's talking about how good Britt did in this match because she's not known as a big match performer. People are kind of underselling what Thunder Rosa did, and what Thunder Rosa
not on
did,
this show. I will say this, exactly, not on this show, because there was no phenomenal Britt Baker without Thunder Rosa.
No,
the chemistry is what made that match as phenomenal as it was,
and the blood and the even because Thunder Rosa came out and somebody online commented, "Oh, that looks like her Cobra Moon outfit from Lucha Underground," and I'm like, if she just got the Thunder Rosa stuff put on her old gear, maybe she's bleeding and she doesn't want to get blood on her new gear.
Smart.
That's just the way I think. And then all of a sudden,
you're probably right though.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I know at least Thunder Rosa's bleeding in this match, and then Britt takes this drop kick on the ladder thing. And I don't know if that was hard way or if she gigged real high up on her hairline. I feel like she gigged high up on her hairline because I think
she gigged up the hairline.
The women do it up. Spoiler alert, folks. If you're going to cut yourself for wrestling purposes and you don't want to have big Dusty Rhodes, Carlos Colon scars, Abdullah the Butcher scars, you do it up past your hairline.
The canyons on your forehead.
Yeah, they used to take poker chips and see how many poker chips they could stick in their scars. Anyway, it was, fucking phenomenal. What else could you ask from a women's match? Tables, ladders, chairs, thumbtack spots. Rebel took a table bump. Everybody was taking bumps on the outside. They wrestled a good match in between all the hardcore stuff. So no complaints. 5-star match for me. And big props to AEW for having the faith in those two. And then even bigger accolades for them because not only was the faith put into them, they knocked it out of the fucking park. So 10 out of 10.
Yeah, we all pretty much have said the same thing. It was just so well done. So again,
is if you haven't seen it,
you have to go watch it, and it's on YouTube, full match anywhere. You can find it. It's worth the 12, 13 minutes, whatever it went. And then there's some 2-3 minute clips of what happened after and backstage where she got both of them received a standing ovation from everyone. It's just cool shit like that. Tony Khan, you actually see a clip of him saying thank you so much, that was incredible, that's match of the year potential. He would. I fucking like Tony Khan, man. I really do. I don't know the guy, of course, but that's just it. He's a true fan, man, and he's just everything I've seen, everything I've heard, everything I've read. I like the guy, man. So AEW is doing good things. That match and the Pinnacle and everything. It's just I'm really, really liking where they're headed. And who knows? We might get a little Andrade soon because I'm hearing mixed. I'm hearing that he has no compete, and then I've heard that he can start anytime he's ready. So maybe they are waiting for Zelina. Maybe they bring them into AEW together. It would be fucking awesome.
Wow, that would be something if they brought both in. Because the real important takeaway from this Andrade situation is he got released with no non-compete clause. So,
which never happens. Very seldom.
Never. Do you know when it happens? When you're married to a Flair.
Well, true.
Yeah.
Well, now listen, before we get too deep into anything else, since you mentioned Charlotte, so all the rumors that she might be pregnant or this and that, she has been removed. She has been removed from promotional material for Mania because she has tested positive for COVID-19. There are also rumors that she's already been in quarantine, and within the next 4 days, she's going to be able to get out of quarantine.
Yep.
So WWE has removed her in case she will not be able to compete at WrestleMania. If she still can, we might see her on SmackDown. And one way, shape, or form, we are going to get Charlotte at WrestleMania. So, but on the same,
for sure,
right? But on the same hand, we get a little Rhea Ripley, and we'll get into all that. But I think we should kind of switch up gears, and we should talk about the most recent events And of course, I'm speaking about Fastlane. I actually did not watch Fastlane on Sunday. I had some things going on. I watched it today. I woke up early, got my daughter off to school, and I sat down and I watched the entire pay-per-view. And I will say this, for a pay-per-view that I was, and we all were, or am, or whatever, I was not really, I could give a fuck less kind of attitude. Like, to me, I want Mania now. I don't really, this doesn't mean anything. I enjoyed the show. I really did. I liked, what I will say, it felt to me more like an extended Monday Night Raw. It didn't necessarily feel like a pay-per-view.
Yep.
I don't know. It's kind of weird, but that's kind of how I felt. But I did enjoy, like, I thought the matches were good. Now, there were some botches, and we'll get into all that. I kind of liked what they did with Shane McMahon, because it's just such a heel thing to do, and postpone this and drag it out now till Mania. So I was kind of cool with the whole injury. And then obviously that being exposed on Raw. But to me, I like heel shit like that. It just, the whole thing is stupid. No pun intended to the fact that this is all because he keeps calling Braun stupid. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed that heelish kind of thing. Apollo Crews, Big E. I thought the match was great until the finish. What exactly? Let's talk about the botch. Does anyone know in detail?
Yeah, well, so basically what it looked like was Apollo pinned Big E, and the referee drops down, goes 1-2. Now Big E's supposed to like pop his hips and reverse it and then do like a neck bridge.
It looked like he was trying to do that.
Right. And the thing is, so he was supposed to pop out and kind of like inside cradle him or leverage pin him with that. And so the ref counted 2 for Apollo's pin. Then Big E did his thing, and she counted. So it looked like there were 5 counts, which is kind of funny considering it's Big E. But it was 1-2. Then Big E did the thing, but he didn't get it. It wasn't a pin. Like, if he got the bridge,
it was very weird.
Right. Because he was supposed to be bridging up with his back and his shoulders and pushing, using the pressure of his neck and the back of his shoulders, and arching his back to push Apollo down and have like a leverage pin. But it just didn't pan out that way. And then the count was fluky. And then I don't know. The problem is it doesn't. If they're trying to set up Big E versus Apollo at WrestleMania, they shouldn't have done this match. Why do it at they've done it on SmackDown, they've done it on this fucking pay-per-view, then they're gonna do it again at WrestleMania.
Well, maybe this time they'll make it a gimmick match and kind of spice it up a little bit, maybe.
I'm sorry, that's supposed to make it better?
Well, listen, I enjoyed the match. I did. I mean, take the finish out. I enjoyed the beginning where Big E just beat the holy shit out of him, and the commentary that he had along with it. And I enjoyed the match. I like Apollo. The accent now is just it makes me fucking laugh.
That's the one. Like, I appreciate the Nigerian colors. He's carrying the spear. Once you get into carrying a spear territory, that starts to be like Saba Simba. And I'm like, but I understand. Then he comes out with the Zamunda accent, and it's just over. Like, I understand. People are complaining. They say, "Oh, well, he's Nigerian." Yeah, but he was born in California. If he was born in Lagos, Nigeria, I would have no problem with the guy having a.
But dude, I mean, listen. Now we're getting a little technical, right? Because I mean, how many of them, like fucking, you got Jinder Mahal, or Daivari, was in like, what I mean? It's been going on forever.
But they had to, they that was.
I
also-
think he can pull it off. I think it's funny, but I do like Apollo as a heel. I that's been a nice change of pace.
Right.
I think if you take the accent out, his promo work has been great.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it, and I'm okay with a Mania match as long as there's some kind of gimmick involved, just to kind of, make it a table match, a ladder match, something, But
Guys, just discuss something very important. I do have the official word that one Mr. Bob McCarty is listening from his hospital room.
oh, that's awesome. Hope he's feeling good.
I just sent him over the link, so he wanted to listen. So if
That's
typing
awesome.
works, he may throw in a comment, but he is
I'll
on.
keep my eyes open. That's
Excellent.
awesome.
Is definitely listening, and he did watch Fastlane too on Sunday night.
Wow.
Nice.
From the rehab center. He made sure to figure out how his WWE network worked.
That's awesome. So now,
Priorities.
that's awesome. So you had Apollo, you had Big E. Again, it definitely wasn't a train wreck until the finish. In my opinion, I thought it was a decent match.
It was
Now you move over, and now what? You have the Sasha, Bianca, Nia Jax. I don't know the
did
order.
you talk about the pre-show match?
What was the pre-show match?
Matt
Pre-show
Riddle
match
and
was,
Ali.
Matt Riddle against Ali for the US.
Oh,
we can't
shit.
say
You know what?
We can't say Matt anymore. Sorry.
You know what? That's my bad because because I didn't watch it on time. I didn't see the pre-show. It just took me right to Fastlane.
Do you want to know what happened?
Sure.
Oh, Bob doesn't like the accent. Look at him. He's up and about.
Yay! Good job,
Look at
Jeter.
that shit. Yeah, buddy. So Matt Riddle won.
I figured that.
Every time that Ali kind of looked to Retribution for help, Dijak was kind of holding everybody back, saying, no, don't. He's got to win this one on his own. Ali loses. Retribution gets in the ring. He goes down the line yelling at each one of them. What have you ever done for me? What do you do? You're nothing. Bah, bah, bah. You stink. What, And finally, Mia Yim steps up and she's like, I'm done with this shit. And
Get
he's like,
back in line.
He's telling him to
Get
get
back
back
in
in line. That's all he could think of was get back in line. And she's like, I'm not getting back in line. And she
It doesn't work on my kids. It's not going to work on an adult. Sorry.
Yeah.
so Mia Yim
So they finally split up Retribution.
Mia Yim leaves the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's his face? Shane Taylor, I guess it is, the other guy
Yeah.
with the hockey mask on.
Yeah.
Does the same thing. He steps out of line. Oh, you should step back in line with the other two guys. He leaves the ring. It's just Dijak and Brennan Williams in the ring with Ali. And he looks at both of them, and they look at him, and they give him the old double choke slam and leave the ring together.
But his face was hilarious.
Oh, yeah. He sold it like, yeah.
Oh, my God. His like, ooh.
He had this face on like he was being murdered, which is good. That's what you want.
So
But
they
like,
finally have
Yeah.
just they finished it. Thank God. But now the question is, what's going to happen with the members?
well,
What are we going to do with them? Are they going to start their own little thing, or are we going to get Mia Yim back? Are we going to get Dijakovic back? Or we, whatever.
I think yeah, even without a fucking stroke, you can. That's right.
right, Bob. You tell him.
Yeah.
But I think Mia Yim's probably either going to go back to being Mia Yim or finally start wrestling in the women's division. Shane Taylor, I think it's his. Is it Shane Thorne, Shane Taylor, whichever one it is. Shane Thorne, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. He'll be back probably in NXT, I would assume. And it looks like, just from the way that they worked together to choke slam Ali, is Dijak and Williams are gonna like stay as a big, tall guy tag team, which I'm fine with because I think that if they ditch those hockey masks and the Predator masks
And the names.
right, and if it's just Dijak and Williams or whatever they decide to call him, yeah, I think there's a lot of good potential there for him.
The only thing that needs to be kept from Retribution is the music, because that was pretty badass.
Yeah, they can keep the music, but the whole everything else was just
Awful.
It never clicked. It's been almost a year, right?
What?
It's about a year.
Has
Yeah.
it been that long?
It was
God.
the summer of last year.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and they were firebombing things.
Right, yeah, they had the Molotov cocktails and they were throwing
God.
cinder blocks through the window. That was still when they were doing stuff at the Performance Center. So yeah, it was almost a year ago.
Holy shit.
Yep, that's unbelievable.
They started back when they started the Performance Center.
Yeah, those Performance Center shows, and they're like, "Oh, we're taking over," and yeah. So R.I.P. to Retribution. We'll see what happens. They didn't appear this week, but I guess something will happen with them next week on Raw. And,
you have to do some follow-up.
Yeah, they got to do something, and then just set us on a new path. So anyway, that was a pre-show match. We did the Big E match. Women's tag team titles. Nia Jax, Shayna with Reginald versus Sasha and Bianca.
So that was that was the only one I think that was the only one I got wrong. And I don't know, something told me, because they were talking up the whole, very seldom does it ever happen where the tag champs go into Mania and face off for the world title. So I kind of thought, well, maybe since they kind of teased that whole idea, that maybe that's the route they were going to go. So I took the shot. I lost. Happy that I lost, quite honestly, because I'd rather see, the tag belts go in a different direction. It was good to see Sasha, bitch slap her. I just that match I'm very much looking forward to at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, that's phenomenal. That's going to be a great match. The reason I didn't pick Sasha and Bianca to win was that I said to myself, what is the dumbest thing that they could do? And I said, I know. You have your two WrestleMania main eventers lose and look like jackasses a month before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I picked Nia and Shayna to retain solely based on picking what I thought was the good idea and then booking the complete opposite.
That's exactly what I thought. They'd implode in some way.
Sasha Flish Flopper.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we tell Bob had a stroke? I don't know what he said.
No, Flip Flopper. Flip Flopper is what he means to say.
It's like, Bob, we can't go fishing right now.
No, he's using Google Voice. He's talking and the translation. I speak Bob. It's okay.
I speak. Yeah. But yeah, so that was the payoff was at the end of it all, we got a bitch slap from Sasha to Bianca, and then Bianca, usually that starts a brawl, and you're going, and somebody goes, "Oh my God, it's mayhem before WrestleMania," blah, 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 and they pull them apart and whatever, and they didn't do that. Bianca absorbed the slap and then pointed at the WrestleMania sign, which is, I don't know, it's a decision, it's a choice.
He got the eyelash literally slapped off her face.
Yeah.
It was great.
We have such high quality cameras now.
That was so hilarious. I'm like, that bitch just lost her eyelash to the other eye.
Oh man. Yeah, it's great. So you know what? I'm very much looking forward to this match. I feel like they kind of get away from this idea. When the Royal Rumble winner wins and they get their number one contendership, that makes the match. They don't then have to be enemies. Like one is the champion, the other is the challenger. They are contracted to fight at a certain date. Like, we didn't need the extra Sasha Banks heel turn again in the middle of I don't know. I just feel like
I don't know, that didn't seem like a heel turn to me. That seemed like a typical Sasha Banks type get ready because now our friendship's on a pause because we're gonna tear down WrestleMania.
We're not friends anymore if you knock my eyelash off. Sorry.
That gotta hurt. That glue is on there pretty solid. We have a note in the chat from Kat, and I think I saw it in the group chat earlier. Rob Van Dam is going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
The whole fucking show.
That's something. I mean, it's well deserved. But it's just funny because, I feel like he was working for Impact just a couple months ago.
He was.
Yeah, and so
So
look at Bischoff though. He was working with
from Eric Bischoff and Rob Van Dam in the same night.
Well, they had to take they had to because Batista had some kind of commitment with a movie or something, and he had to pull out.
RVD got nominated.
So instead, they got Bischoff and RVD. They had to do a 2-for-1. But hey, you know,
I'm all for those 2 over the 1, so I'm good.
Yeah, I feel Rob Van Dam was a Hall of Famer 20 years ago, so
Yeah.
it's an easy choice.
I'm still waiting for Batista to be a Hall of Famer, so I'm good.
Well, he apparently requested a postponement into a different class because he already has a prior commitment for, I guess, when they're doing it this year. And he wants to be able to be there, and he wants to be able to thank the fans himself. So I thought that was pretty cool. I read that today somewhere, actually.
It's stand up of him, absolutely. But like I said, I'm
She's
not
sold that he's actually
disappointed compared to RVD and Bischoff.
Right. No, but I'm just saying it's still going to happen. It's just, not going to happen this year.
Can we do that with the Bellas too?
I don't know, man. The last thing that I heard is that they are training again because they want to make a return and go after the women's tag titles, and that they're coming out of retirement. That's the latest thing I've heard. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they're going to be back in time for this year.
So then that leads me, since we're talking about the women's stuff, who is challenging Nia and Shayna for the tag team titles?
That's
a very good question.
Billy Kay has been trying to convince Carmella to let Billy take over as Carmella's sommelier. She's submitted her resume and is bugging her on social media. So maybe if Carmella relents and agrees to let Billy be her sommelier, then we've got the actual sommelier, quote unquote, Reginald, with Nia and Shayna, and then we've got Carmella and her new sommelier, Billy Kay, challenging her for the tag team titles.
I'm not against it.
I was gonna say the silence says it all right there.
I mean, it's not exciting, but it's something. Speaking of not exciting, that poor Peyton Royce. I know I'm jumping ahead to Raw.
Oh my God! Did you not feel horrible for her last night?
Like, talk about a girl who her career has gone from like winning a tag title at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and it just slowly.
Are we in agreement though that was one of the best wrestling matches she's ever had? I was pretty impressed. I mean, compared to what she usually looks like, because I mean, in my opinion, she was never, you're not putting her in the same level as a Charlotte, for example.
Somehow they always had this idea that she was going to be that kind of a Charlotte Sasha level star, and I don't know who gave them that idea. Because she's good looking, she wrestles okay. But the promo, it's like Ricochet. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to hear her talk. I don't want to hear Ricochet talk. The whole reason, again, not to beat this to death, the reason the Iconics worked, Billy Kay was the charisma, and Peyton Royce was the wrestling, and that's how, like, Big Cass and Enzo, Tucker and Otis. It happened. Like, this is a thing. So why couldn't they just let it work? Now both of these girls have done nothing since the Iconics split up.
Yeah,
I wish they'd get back together. Honestly,
yeah, I think that's got to come somewhere down the line. That would be nice. What was the next match after that tag team thing?
Then had Rhea Ripley happen after that. Don't forget.
Well, Rhea Ripley.
No, that was on Raw.
That was on Raw.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Was it the Seth Rollins? Was it Seth Rollins?
No, it was the Braun Strowman replacement, the Shane McMahon.
Right.
Yeah. Say we all see how we all forgot about it.
Yeah, well, again, I thought it was a great heel thing of Shane to do what he did and to prolong it, to do it at Mania. I thought that was great. And of course, now it's going to be a gimmick match too, because he said you can have any match you want. So obviously, there's going to be a stipulation. I listen. I like Elias too. He's been getting the shit end of the stick lately too. So I don't know who he pissed off.
Yeah. And
So what was
I
after?
think it's not he's getting punished. It's just his gimmick.
yeah, that's
I didn't say he's getting punished. I just said he hasn't won a fucking match. I can't
Yeah.
remember the last time he's won a match.
good question. Since before Jeff Hardy hit him with a car, but didn't really hit him with a car.
But not
Oh,
Jeff
God,
Hardy. Jeff Hardy hit him with the car.
Right.
So what was the next? What was the next after that?
Rollins and Nakamura.
Oh yeah, and that was a good match.
I mean, those two always put on a good match.
Yeah, I honestly like ever since that summer where Seth beat the Fiend by DQ in a Hell in a Cell match for trying to hit him with a tiny hammer when hitting the guy with the big hammer was okay. But
the Harley Quinn hammer.
So ever since that moment, I haven't given a shit about Seth Rollins. Like, he was the hottest guy in the WWE. Oh, and right around that time, he was saying all that stuff about like, oh, my bank account's bigger than guys in like Will Ospreay in New Japan and all this shit. It's like, dude, just don't talk.
You're saying the quiet parts out loud.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it was a good match.
Those two are never going to put on a bad
never
match.
gonna put on a bad match. And Rollins had that nice kick at the end, like he went over. And then, so I don't know if you heard about this. Low key, Caval, whatever you want to call him, low key, went on Twitter to complain that Seth Rollins stole that move from him.
Okay.
Really?
I mean, that kick where you missed.
Didn't he retire? He's not even wrestling anymore, is he?
I don't know. I really don't know, because every so often he like retires and then he's not, and then.
And do we fucking care at this point? Like, is this?
That's what I'm saying. Like, all respect to the guy who's wrestled for 15, 20 years, but like.
Yeah, I'll give him that, but fucking Christ.
It's not your finisher. I don't know. It's hard to like if nobody stole any moves, we wouldn't have a suplex or a DDT or an atomic drop.
Right.
Like,
fucking if anything,
KO
Jake Roberts owns that DDT.
Jake Robert owns it, yeah.
But that's what I'm
Stone
saying.
Cold and Diamond Dallas Page between the Diamond Cutter and the Stunner, you know.
And then Orton, because it's just
Right,
another
no,
variation.
Yep.
Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking just shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
I mean, really.
It's a weird thing to complain about. Like, just be happy that what's it called?
Your move preserved
Somebody,
that long.
somebody acknowledged you and acknowledged your skill and acknowledged your move. Yeah, the slide kick. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was cool. I like that move. Yeah, it was a good match. I don't know, like, storyline consequences.
There was no rhyme or reason for it.
But it was a good match. So hey, anytime I can see good matches on one of their pay-per-views is a fucking miracle. So
After that was Sheamus, Drew McIntyre.
yeah, those guys beat the piss out of each other too.
I mean, listen,
yeah.
Those are another two guys that are always going to put on a good show. They've known each other forever, so their chemistry, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
It brought more than for a match that I really didn't give two shits about before it was actually going to happen. Like, I was like, who cares? Like, whatever. It was actually one of my favorite matches of the night.
That's
Which
how I
one?
feel about it too.
Which one?
Drew Sheamus.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you on that.
I wasn't expecting. I mean, I knew it was going to be a good match, like you said. The two of them always put on a show, but I was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, we know Drew McIntyre's facing Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, so it didn't make or break anything.
Right.
But the match ended up being really good.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then we had what? Then there was the main event.
No, then it was the Randy Orton,
Fiend
Alexa
and-
Bliss.
Oh, right. So now I want to talk about that for a second. Now, because we all know how I feel about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to talk about a few things. Number one, Alexa Bliss. I thoroughly enjoy the fact that they made her a little pastier and they gave her that extra black around her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of enjoyed that because it just looks a little creepier.
Yeah, further highlights everything.
I enjoyed what they did in this match. I enjoyed all the mind games and the crazy, voodoo type shit. But what are our thoughts of the new Fiend look? Because I'm a little torn. I don't hate it. I definitely don't like it as much as the original.
Right.
No, of
To
course
me, he looks like a mix of Jason Voorhees when he comes back to life after getting fried,
Mhm.
or like I don't
not.
even
The
know.
21-year-old kid after his first night at a bar.
Like Freddy Krueger. I don't know. Like I don't know. I like the original so much that this one he looks like Swamp Thing. Like
That's a good one.
you know.
Thing I've heard Melt Man from the Nickelodeon action figure show Kablam, which was a melted action figure, and then
it was Action Heroes Now or something.
Oh no, Bob. What do you? What exactly are you looking to talk about?
He's talking about the Fiend's appearance. He was
Yeah,
asked
the Fiend's
about that a couple of times. Yeah.
I've also
Gotcha.
heard he looked
All
like Ivan Ooze from the first Power Rangers movie. For those of you who are this age, but it's just I don't know. The mask. I think the mask is fine. I don't love the he looks like a burnt s'more.
It's the attire more than the mask. I agree.
And then the silly thing is, so Monday night happens. Alexa Bliss points to the sign instead of the Fiend because why would the Fiend point the WrestleMania sign?
Because his arm's too burnt. He can't lift it.
Exactly. So she points to the sign and the fire comes around the sign. But then they go immediately to a graphic where somehow in between haunting the night and ruling over hell and all the other things he does, the Fiend found time
to take a picture
in front of the thing and to have his picture taken like it's school picture day. Like, hey, all right, I'm on the poster now. Like, come on.
What's up, guys? The Fiend's back.
And the worst part is because it's such a clean, nice, like they used a nice camera and took a nice photo. You can just see the clothes, and it's like when you're a kid and you watch and you see the commercial for a horror movie, or like the first 5 minutes of a horror movie, you're like, oh, that's scary. Yeah. And then like half an hour in the movie, the monster isn't scary and it's just a guy in a suit. Like if you're watching like an 80s movie, you're like, that's not scary. It's just a guy in a suit. Like the other Fiend with the original Fiend pre-Burns was scarier. I'm just, there's no other way I can really quantify that. It was scary.
I think that's what my problem is. I think that's what it is. You're hitting the nail on the head. I think he's just not as scary looking. And now my question is, can he ever like heal from these burns?
Maybe that's what they're gonna do. I'm kind of thinking that every so often, maybe leading up to WrestleMania, like every week, we're gonna
he kind of recovers a little bit more.
Right, like he heals up a little bit, and then finally we get the regular mask back. I don't know.
I mean, I get you have to acknowledge that he got burned, but
right, he can't come back looking the same. I don't hate it. I definitely love the other one a lot better. That's for sure.
I mean, even if it's for the feud, it'd be fine. Like after he gets away from Orton to get the original mask, the dreads.
Yeah, I really don't know what they're.
You can't even tell if he has the dreads, though. By the way, it's done in the dark and everything with the lighting and everything in the burns.
Yeah,
it just melded into the mask.
That's the thing. They're giving you the impression that everything kind of melted into one congealed ball of flesh.
Yet his contacts and his teeth, superb.
Perfect. And he's lost weight. Good for him. Like he looks a lot thinner.
Okay, that wasn't just me. He looked a lot skinnier, right?
Unless
he did lose some.
Yeah, he looks like he lost weight. No complaints there. But I don't know. This whole thing, maybe I'll appreciate all of the stuff that's happened more once I see what they do at WrestleMania. But I don't know. Is it just going to be a regular ass match? Is it going to be a match like they did in Orlando for WrestleMania where they put the worms and shit on the ring and try to make it spooky? Or are they going to do like a cinematic match and do it like the Funhouse match and the Boneyard and all that shit?
I think you're probably going to get some form of cinematic match.
Yeah, maybe.
I kind of hope we don't. I want to see a match. Like, not to say that the cinematic's not a match, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
well, yeah, I wanted to see a match too, but we had to have a intergender voodoo fuckfest. Oh, which by the way, speaking of,
wait,
Randy Orton's wife. I don't know.
Oh my God!
Everybody in the world enjoyed the way that Alexa Bliss pinned Randy Orton.
Oh yes.
Except Randy Orton's wife.
Yeah, she
Randy
wasn't
Orton's
thrilled
wife-
about that.
If you remember in Living Color, hated it. Hated it. She said something like "you're dead, little girl" on Twitter, or "you fucked up, little girl," something like that. I was
Yeah,
like,
it was something along those lines.
But the worst part is Randy, because Randy's Randy, says, "Hey, Soldier Boy, maybe I should just tell my wife it's all fake." Like still continuing his feud with Soldier Boy, but also like acknowledging that his wife is really like she's really pissed. Man, people freaked out about that pin. I mean, I noticed it right away, but then like when you go online, all those guys who like never touched a girl in their life are like, "Oh my god, she climbed up on top of him."
Oh God.
It
Yeah,
happened.
she said you might have just fucked up, little girl. Was
Fantastic.
And she's Latina, correct?
yeah. So run.
I thought
That's
she was
the last
Italian.
thing I would want to hear. Oh,
I thought she was Italian. I could be wrong.
I mean, listen, it's still not good.
It's still not a good phrase to
It's
hear
still
from.
not a good thing. It's still run.
Puerto
Hey,
Rico
listen,
and Sicily are
listen,
both islands of brown.
Listen,
people on the
this
stage.
is the WWE. This may turn into her coming into WWE for a little thing and do a little mixed tag action.
Could you imagine? Mixed
Actually,
match.
she's Italian and Mexican. Run.
Oh, look at that.
She's
Run.
got a temper. She's definitely got a temper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, there was nothing. It's a TV show. It happens. It's not
She's
like
5'4" and she's got long hair that's wrapped up in a ponytail. And get the hell out of Dodge.
yeah, once she takes the earrings off, it's over. But like, I don't know, it's a TV
Uh-huh.
show. They didn't fuck. It's not like they actually had sex. They didn't have to do a sex scene. They didn't kiss.
Yeah, they did have a live sex celebration.
See, Bob knows Italian or Latino run like hell.
Oh yeah, it's just it was so funny because I saw the pin and I'm like, just in the back of my mind, like, man, people are gonna go overboard with this, and they went overboard with it.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was just like I don't know. Once the Fiend hit him with the thing, didn't matter. She could have put one foot on him and pinned him. Not even an official match, right? Because
Well, no, there was
It
there was
is
a 3
official
count.
the referee
Yeah.
came in. The referee teleported into the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, the referee that he didn't even they
Teleported
didn't
into
even
the
focus on
ring.
the ref.
The ref who was like, I don't know, was he sitting next to commentary just like having a soda and was like, oh guys, I gotta make a 3 count. Like he just showed up.
He was probably by the bell, like the
Yeah.
bell keeper or whatever.
It's just funny because all this stuff
Never
happens.
noticed there was a referee until he started counting. Yep.
Lighting
Yeah.
rigs are falling out of the sky. Randy Orton's coughing up black goo and all this stuff. And the
What are you
referee-
trying to kill me? It
He's like,
was
"Ah, you know
awesome.
what? Until the bell rings, I'm gonna sit over here. I'm good.
So,
you guys are doing all that black voodoo magic. I'm good.
I know, right?
so that brings us over to the main event of the evening.
Oh, your WCW overbooked finish of the night
Listen, we said it was going to end in a Fugazi kind of way.
because they were setting up the three. Because here's the thing: we talked about it last week. Both world title matches had the potential to become a 3-way match. Either the Raw match had Sheamus added to it, or the SmackDown match has Daniel Bryan added to it. Seems like they're not going to make the Raw one a 3-way, but are definitely going full force with adding Daniel Bryan to the Edge and Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But yes, Fugazi is a good it's a good way to
Now-
describe.
Now, listen, I know how we all know Vince's feelings when it comes to Daniel Bryan. But your personal feelings aside, are you really that not okay with him being in that match? Because I think he does add a little something to the match.
But here's my problem with it. It's
I
just
know.
another example
Edge, Rumble, I know.
of the Royal Rumble winner
Meaning
not
nothing.
getting the match that they signed up for. Like that just bugs me.
No, I see. No, I'm with you. Like that bothers me too.
Because I just not that Daniel Bryan's going to take away from the match, and not that it won't be good, but now when it's 2 guys straight up, you're thinking, oh man, Roman Reigns, he's this big, powerful guy. Oh, the other thing I had a problem with is Roman Reigns even though the ref wasn't there, him tapping out Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
But you know what's going to happen, right? If they do make it a triple threat, that way Roman loses the title without being pinned or tapping, and that keeps the feud going and doesn't make Roman look weak because, hey, I may have lost my strap, but I wasn't the one that pinned or submitted. That's what's going to happen. But Daniel Bryan's going to be the fall guy if they make that a triple threat.
Right.
Because
but that's kind of also where I'm like, oh, well, now we just have to look out to see is Reigns going to pin Bryan so Edge still looks strong, or is Edge going to pin Bryan so Roman still looks strong?
I think Edge is winning
Or
the
does
title.
Bryan pin Edge?
Oh, does Bryan pin Edge and then we get him inserted into a triple threat and then win it?
As of right now, everything that I circle back to is I really think Edge is leaving as champion.
I
agree.
I want Edge since he won the fucking Royal Rumble. I've wanted him to win that match.
Yeah, same here.
That was, and that was before he decided who he was facing. Once he said Roman Reigns, I'm like, now he's going to put the guy over. Now the introduction of Daniel Bryan again throws a wrench into it. I don't know. I just think the whole thing is kind of weird because, like, if somebody can't lose to somebody else, then don't book the match.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
it's wrestling. I mean, that's how they keep shit going, and I mean, it's just that's how it always is. It's I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It's one of those things where what we said, the Bret Hart Undertaker HBK special guest referee situation, happened.
Pretty much.
Pretty much exactly that happened, except you had the extra Edge turning heel at the end.
Was it really a heel turn though?
See, who knows? Because
I think Edge just being Edge and getting fired up for the Mania. But he's not going to be the one getting booed.
No, but again, he should just be a baby face. Like he came back from career-ending injuries to win the Royal Rumble from like the number 1 slot. And now he's getting a triple threat match. Like, it's just all this stuff is just like, it seems like
I hear you.
Disrespect to Edge. If this is Edge's year, like, I know he's still going to win the title by pinning Bryan, but like, I don't know.
He should be able to pin Roman.
But here's the thing. I agree with you that Roman doesn't necessarily have to should be pinned right now. I don't know. I don't think he should be pinned until next WrestleMania. So if they need to get the title off him, a triple threat is the right idea. But it also just seems like another one of those matches where it feels like we're 3 or 4 weeks away from the pay-per-view and they don't think it's going to sell as well as it's going to. So they add somebody to a match. And they've done that a lot.
Yeah.
They've made it was Batista against Randy Orton, and then all of a sudden Daniel Bryan's in the match because he got over. And even the first time they went to Orlando for 24, that was Randy, Triple H, and John Cena in a WWE Championship match because Cena dropped the title to Triple H, but Randy won the Rumble. So they both got the match, and then it was, I don't know, it was a bunch of horse shit like that too. It's just, it always seems like there's something if they don't think it's working 3 or 4 weeks out, they throw somebody else in the match. I'm just like, I don't know. I want a straight up match, bro. But that's just me. I know what's happening. I've accepted it. And, my only hope is that Edge gets the 3 count and we all go away happy here.
Yeah. So,
oh boy,
that was pretty much Fastlane. So, like I said, overall, I didn't hate it. We're really getting close to the top of the hour. So, anything about Raw that we wanted to really touch on?
They finalized a bunch of stuff. You finally know. I mean, even though we already knew, Shane McMahon is facing Braun Strowman. Braun gets to pick the stipulation. We've got Randy Orton and The Fiend locked down for WrestleMania. They confirmed a bunch of matches.
Rhea Ripley and Rhea.
Well.
Rhea Ripley and Asuka, yeah.
Which that might be the only real big takeaway because. So here's the thing. Like you said earlier, Andrade on Twitter seemed to indicate that Charlotte will be out of quarantine in 4 weeks. Well, Kat
4
just
days.
posted 4 days. Sorry, excuse me. 4 weeks would be ridiculous.
4 weeks would be a huge.
4 days. She's like missing a lung. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andrade said 4 more days and she's out. Ric Flair on Twitter said, I'm going to open the page back up.
WrestleMania is not going to be the same without the Queen.
Yeah. So I don't know if that means that maybe Rick is assuming the worst and maybe Andrade has new information, or maybe Rick has better information than Andrade. But it seems like there is a question mark as to whether or not she'll be able to perform. Here's the fucked up thing. All their WrestleMania plans involving Charlotte and Lacey and Asuka have, every time they try and go in one direction, something happens. Like they were going forward with Asuka versus Charlotte, and then Asuka got concussed. So then they did a whole episode of Charlotte like going down a gauntlet of enemies, basically like saying if Asuka can't compete, they're going to have Charlotte compete against somebody else for a vacant title. And now Charlotte gets sick, but Asuka's back. So you're bringing Rhea Ripley. But what if Charlotte comes back and you've got another triple threat?
And I got to be honest, I don't know how I feel right now about Rhea Ripley.
Really?
Well,
Why?
She hasn't recovered from that fucking beating that Charlotte.
No, it's not even that. Like, I like Rhea Ripley. I like the look. I like what she does in the ring. I'm a fan of Rhea Ripley. This is not knocking Rhea Ripley.
Too soon being a title shot?
I just feel like you just get called up from NXT and first night on Monday Night Raw, you get to challenge and get a title match at WrestleMania against Asuka. Like, to me, I just think that was, I don't think she's earned it. I don't think she's earned the right to. And to be honest with you, I'm hoping Asuka's victorious.
But not to be anything but Paige on her first night coming up from NXT, going to Raw the night after WrestleMania, took the strap from AJ first night out.
That's true. That is true.
I'm not comparing Paige and Rhea Ripley, but I probably would put them both on the same level.
Very close to each other. At the
I agree with that.
I wouldn't put that big of a distinction between the two of them competitively. The only difference is this is going to be at WrestleMania, and the other one was on the show.
Maybe that's what my issue is. You know, with that, it was on Raw. You know, this is happening at WrestleMania.
But Rhea Ripley competed at WrestleMania last year.
But but it was different. I don't know. It was a different situation. Like everything. I don't know.
I agree.
Like
I don't know what exactly it is that
she could have earned the title shot
because
like have like a women's like fatal 4-way or something like on Raw, and then like just earn it. Like I guess that's my thing. Just earn it.
Did Gail Kim earn it when she won in the Battle Royal?
No, and I didn't think she deserved it. You're
consistent. I'm good then.
But on the same note, I didn't know who Gail Kim was even from the TNA days, and that wasn't knocking Gail Kim because, in my opinion, Gail Kim is one of the greatest women wrestlers. To lace the boots.
Absolutely.
You know, but So I don't know, but I don't know.
I mean, we could have had Asuka on commentary again, and that's always great.
Yeah. Eric.
I mean, we had another Bliss Fiend Orton segment on Raw to end it, which I thought that was I enjoyed that shit. So for me,
didn't Orton's bag get bigger?
Did his what?
The bag he brought out.
He whacked his bag.
I swear I didn't think you said bag. That's why we both went like, wait, what?
It was.
What did you think I said?
Right.
I swear I thought you said bulge.
His bulge totally
get bigger. But wait,
bigger after Alexa pinned him. No,
he got excited. He thought Bliss was going to mount him again.
You're right. The black bag that had the matches and the can of gas in it seemed to change size in between camera takes. But whatever. It was so funny because Randy Orton's sitting there. He's got the gas. He throws the gas at the Fiend. The Fiend doesn't do anything. He starts to light the match. He's like, "No, I'm going to go for an RKO and light the guy on fire." You know it works.
Oh, that's why you guys aren't on Thunderdome. It was two different segments.
What?
That's why you're seeing the size of the cans and everything. You guys all see it as one segment. We don't.
It was one.
It was all one
connected.
It was okay. See, the commercial break before you guys, Thunderdome starts about 10 minutes before you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with what you guys are seeing is, so there was the whole segment, then it breaks to camera, and then it came back, and it was the other part of the segment. So we saw Alexa. We didn't see Alexa Bliss in the ring like you guys saw her come down the ramp doing this, playing with the Jack in the Box. We didn't see that.
Huh.
That's what we had a break.
Weird.
So that's probably when you guys
That is
were
weird.
seeing the canister size change.
Yeah, the bag was much smaller. Then he has a full gas can.
Then he's got a like it looked like he had one of the travel gas cans.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he had like a full gas can.
Like, see, this is why I tend not to talk when I'm on the Thunderdome, because like I knew Edge won like a whole 5 minutes before y'all did. So
yeah, that was like me at WrestleMania that one year where my text messages were coming in like 30 seconds before the stream.
Yeah, but like it's like an easy, it's 5-10 minutes because I'll hear, especially with one of the kids around it, I'll hear them being others going, "Oh my god, holy!" And now he's like, "What the heck?" And I'm looking, I'm like, "Okay, yeah, there is nothing exciting going on the screen right now. So what are you bugging about?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, they're in the Thunderdome. Never mind."
And Vince, on that note, it is top of the hour.
Yes, sir. So yeah, as I said, about an hour after we discussed it, Eric chimed in the messenger to let everybody know that he also agrees with our assessment of the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker lights out match. So in case you were keeping track at home, that's just about. I think everybody, including Amanda, everybody on and Chairman, everybody liked that match.
Oh my God, we all simultaneously agreed on something.
Never happens.
Hell is freezing over.
Yeah, seriously. So we're gonna wrap up the show. Very nice to have Bob back listening, and you know, we wish you well on your road in rehab and recovery here from you know, your medical incident there. So best of wishes to you there, Bob. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. I'm sure you know Kat is taking good care of you, but let us know. And
hey now.
Yeah, well, not like Alexa Bliss took care of Randy Orton on Sunday, but you know, this is the end of the show for tonight. Otherwise, we're just gonna degenerate into a bunch of dirty jokes, and we can't have that.
Save that for off the air,
right? Yeah, we'll save it for off. But this is it. Good week is you know. I apologize that I missed the first few minutes of the show for a power outage, but luckily my power is back on, and I don't have to worry about throwing out everything in my fridge. If you would like to follow us on social media. It's tag me a date at tag me a date. No spaces. It's all one word. So you can look us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope. And you should just put in tag me date everywhere. YouTube, it's the same. YouTube.com. Type in tag me date in the search bar. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell, and you'll get our notifications. We go live on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, etc. 7 p.m. Eastern time. We did just go through daylight savings, so if you're listening to us live now, you figured it out. If you're listening to us an hour late, you haven't figured it out yet, but that's okay. We have our archive available on YouTube, on that YouTube channel, or you could listen to the audio version on your favorite podcast app, whether it's Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Just look for The War Report or Tag Me a Date. You will see all of our branding and icons and all of that. You'll know it's us because we tell you know it'll say wrestling podcast, etc. I feel like we might be the only podcast named The War Report, unless there's somebody talking about Iraq and Afghanistan.
There is a musician with their.
Well, we'll fight him anyway. Hit subscribe. The audio version.
We can take the bumps.
Oh yeah, we can definitely do it. Ryan puts the audio version up after we dismiss ourselves from the live show, so it's up sometime Tuesday night. And that should do it for this week. Once again, we are really blown away by the response we're getting, especially on the audio streams. Listening to the podcast and following along with us every week. We seem to be seeing a lot of good growth. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Once again, if you have any friends that are wrestling fans, send them our way. Send them some links. Excuse me. Send them a link to the YouTube or send them a link to one of the podcast episodes that, you know, if they can listen. So you can watch the video, you can listen to the audio if you want to clean your room or go to the gym or whatever, and you know, listen to it while you're doing something else. But lots of opportunities, and again, just share the word. We love talking about wrestling, and we love having more people, you know, listen to our conversation, engage in that conversation. So if you think you know some friends that are missing out, spread the word. Tag me a date, War Report Podcast. More on the website and all that as we go along. So thank you guys so much. We will talk to you next week. Next Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Eastern Time for another edition of the War Report. Hope you have a nice rest of your week.